Welcome back to the studio. Now I'm working on this beautiful horse. I'm going to start painting on his head. This is Sueño. And the name in Spanish means dream. It's what Keeahna's mother told me. And so we're going to call this painting Keeahna's Dream, because this is her dream horse. So I'm using a mixture of just ivory black plus white. Gives us a nice rich black. It's a warm black. So we begin blocking in his head. And since I've already got the planes of his head established, it's much easier than to follow my drawing from. Horses' heads are measured in lengths. The distance from the base of the ear to the eye is the same as the distance from the eye to the tip here of his jawbone. Or actually, no, it's not his jawbone. It's the, oh my gosh, my medical illustration, all the horse anatomy drawings I did, it's the zygomatic arch here. I think that's, if I remember correctly. That's the same length as from the base of the ear to the eye to here. Then this length is exactly the same as that. And then from the corner of the mouth to the tip of the muzzle. So that the head of a horse is divided into 4 equal parts. And the way the light's hitting this horse, it's very, very distinct. These again are mixes of ivory black plus white. And this guy is super, super shiny. Use a little bit of a mixture of phthalo blue plus cadmium orange for the skin around their muzzles, because it has sort of a different kind of color to it. I'm adding a little bit of ivory black into that. It's just a different gray around their muzzle, around the corner of their mouth. And that skin is just so incredibly soft. I grew up riding, and it's just love petting a horse there. Rubbing their nostrils, and this little muzzle there is just, you feel their little whiskers. And I was very fortunate to be able to have horses growing up, so it was a dream for me too. I guess that's why doing this painting is just super special to me, because I was horse crazy and as a little girl, and she is too, which is really neat. That's one of the fun things of doing commissions, is capturing people's dreams on canvas. I love doing that. Now we get the light over his eye. Once I get all this covered, then I'll go back and smooth and make adjustments. Right now I just want to get the canvas covered. Light's hitting his muzzle here. I'm going to make it darker along this back edge, because I want it to stand out from those mountains in the background. My paint behind there is still a little bit wet, so if I need to, I can always go back and pull it. And if it has dried, I have those colors mixed up. I saved my color so that I can, if I have to go back in and make any adjustments, I can, but this paint's still wet enough that I can pull it. I want to soften this underneath edge of his head right here. I want the front edge of his head to be distinct, but I want the lower bottom line of his jaw here to be a little softer. So that makes the front of his head come forward. It's just imperceptible. It's not real. It's not making it as soft as the mountains. I just want to soften that edge just a little bit. I'll come back and clean that color up. I can pull some of this other color in. That jawline's just a little bit softer. It's almost like you get that feeling of a blurring of motion. Making that a little bit softer gives him a little feeling of motion there. Now this is some of my ultramarine blue plus white. I'm just making a little, again, I'll come back and make adjustments here and there. This is black horses, a lot of the reflections and light areas go toward the blue tones. So this is again, ultramarine blue plus white. Darker in here. Now this right here, this what catches the light. That above his eye. And also on this ridge catches the light. And I'll put a forelock in here, so I'm not real worried about that part of his head. Now we're going to do his ears. Got that one a little wide, so I can come back with my sky color and make it a little bit narrower. He's very alert looking forward at where he's going to be planting his feet in that field of flowers. Get those little tips of his ears. I'll come back in and add the lighter portions of his ears. Right now, again, I'm just getting everything in there. We'll come back and make adjustments. That color's a little bit dry, so I've got some of my sky color. I can come back in and look around his ears. That's the beauty of oil paint, is you can save your colors and have them to come back and work with. Make that ear just a little bit long. And this ear tips up. Around there. Now, like I say, I'll come back and do his forelock, but I want to get his head in, and I can do that over his head, do the forelock over his head. This is lighter in here. One thing I like to do when I'm painting a horse with his nostrils so flared, you can almost see you see a deep red within the depth of their nostrils. Put that in. those nostrils are really flared, so he gets a little indentation right there. And they usually get just a little teeny highlight right here at the corner of their mouth. This dips down. Just a little light sketches right there. Get that blue highlighting here. Get a little blue up in there. Horses are magnificent creatures. I just love watching them run wild across a field, just bucking and kicking, and nothing like a shiny horse on a sunny day. Talk about poetry in motion. Now I'm just taking a little pure white. I'm going to work it back into the darker color. And this highlight right here, a little bit lighter. That's too light, but we'll get it softened in there. I'm going to bring some of my ultramarine blue plus white. Well, that's too dark. A little bit of that and working here. Get a little blue on that face. Just right in there. Beneath his eye. This area is still lighter in here. And he's going to be a little darker right in this area. Kind of dips down. Bring this blue . A little lighter all in here. It's just a back and forth. Jack always called it pushing and pulling. It's a little darker right along here, sort of the bridge of his nose. Again, I'm going to have forelock up there, so I'm not worried about that. All right. Well, I've got his head pretty well blocked in. I have still quite a bit more work to do on it, but that just kind of gives you an idea of how I get the head of the horse blocked in. And I've been resting my hand on my maul stick. This hooks over the top of my easel, and I can just brace my hand against it as I paint, and it allows me to steady my hand. I appreciate you following along. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comments section, and please subscribe to my YouTube video channel. You'll receive an email every time that I post a new video, and I also have a blog. The address is on the final frame of my video, and I show the complete step-by-step process of working on this piece as well as others I do. I appreciate you following along. Have a great day and happy painting.